Something happened to you last night, and you didn't even realize it. While you were asleep, while your mind was drifting through dreams and your body was quietly restoring itself, an unseen shift may have altered the direction of your entire life. You woke up thinking it was just another ordinary morning. You checked your phone, you followed your routine. But deep within your subconscious something feels different. A subtle tension, a quiet excitement, a strange sense that reality itself is slightly out of alignment with what it used to be. What if I told you that time is not as fixed as you believe? What if the timeline you are currently walking on was gently redirected by higher dimensional intelligence? Beings who operate beyond the limits of physical space, beyond linear cause and effect. Many people across the United States are reporting similar sensations right now: sudden clarity, unexpected opportunities, emotional releases, or an almost magnetic pull toward a new version of their future. This is not coincidence. This is not imagination. This could be the moment your consciousness was invited into a higher probability reality. And ignoring this signal might mean missing the very breakthrough you've been waiting for your entire life. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to understand could change how you see your past, your present, and the destiny that is silently forming around you right now. Before we continue, if you feel even a slight resonance with this message, take a moment to subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment. Comment task: tell me which part of the United States you are watching from. Your voice matters and your location helps build a conscious community. Chapter 1. The quantum nature of timelines and conscious awakening. There is a growing realization emerging from both modern quantum theory and ancient spiritual traditions. Reality is not a single fixed path. Instead, it behaves more like an infinite field of potential experiences, constantly reshaping itself in response to observation, belief, emotion, and intention. When we talk about timelines, we are not referring to science fiction fantasy. We are speaking about the subtle but measurable way probability waves collapse into physical events. Every choice you make, every thought you repeat, every emotional pattern you reinforce contributes to selecting which version of reality becomes tangible for you. In this sense, your life is less like a predetermined script and more like a dynamic navigation system, responding moment by moment to the signals you broadcast from your consciousness. Sleep plays a far more important role in this process than most people realize. During deep sleep phases, your brain transitions into slower wave frequencies, particularly theta and delta states. These states reduce the dominance of analytical thinking and open access to deeper layers of subconscious programming. It is in this receptive condition that new beliefs can be integrated, unresolved memories can be reorganized, and future scenarios can be rehearsed at a symbolic level. From a quantum perspective, you might imagine your mind temporarily loosening its grip on the physical timeline you usually inhabit, allowing it to explore adjacent possibilities. This is why many people wake up with sudden solutions to problems, unexpected inspiration, or a feeling that their priorities have shifted overnight. Spiritual traditions describe this process as guidance from higher intelligence. Whether one interprets this intelligence as cosmic consciousness, collective mind, or interdimensional beings is ultimately a matter of personal belief. What is important is recognizing the functional impact. You are not isolated in your evolution. There are patterns of awareness that seem to encourage growth, resilience, creativity, and compassion. When people report sensing that their timeline has shifted, they are often describing a sudden change in internal alignment. Habits that once felt impossible to break suddenly feel lighter. Goals that once seemed distant begin to appear achievable. Relationships transform. Opportunities emerge. These are not random accidents. They are signs that your attention has moved toward a different probability stream. To understand this scientifically, consider the principle that observation influences outcome. In controlled experiments, particles behave differently depending on whether they are measured or left unobserved. Translating this metaphorically to human life, the way you focus your awareness shapes the events that crystallize around you. If your attention is dominated by fear, scarcity, and self-doubt, your nervous system remains tuned to threats and limitations. If your awareness shifts toward possibility, gratitude, and purposeful action, you become more sensitive to supportive circumstances. Over time, these micro-adjustments accumulate into what feels like a major timeline shift. Manifestation is often misunderstood as wishful thinking. In reality, it is a disciplined practice of aligning perception, emotion, and behavior toward a coherent intention. Visualization activates neural circuits associated with real experiences. Emotional rehearsal strengthens belief. Consistent action grounds potential into material change. When all three elements synchronize, the statistical likelihood of desired outcomes increases dramatically. This does not guarantee instant success, but it does create momentum. Many individuals who experience profound life transformations describe a moment when they felt guided to adopt a new perspective. A turning point where the future they once imagined began to feel real. This chapter invites you to examine your recent experiences with curiosity rather than skepticism. Have you noticed subtle shifts in motivation? Have you felt drawn to new ideas or communities? Have old patterns begun to dissolve? These signals may indicate that your subconscious has already started recalibrating your trajectory. Education and awareness empower you to cooperate with this process instead of resisting it. By studying how beliefs shape perception and how perception influences decisions, you gain practical tools to participate in your own evolution. Another valuable concept is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself through repeated thought and behavior. This biological flexibility supports the idea that identity is not static. Each time you adopt a new mindset or learn a new skill, you are literally constructing a different version of yourself. From a timeline perspective, personal growth can be viewed as moving toward futures where your expanded capabilities become relevant. Spiritual narratives often describe this as stepping into a higher vibration. Scientific language frames it as adaptive learning. Both perspectives point toward the same conclusion: transformation is not only possible, it is ongoing. You may also consider the role of collective consciousness. In an interconnected society, emotional states and ideas spread rapidly through social networks. Large groups can enter synchronized moods, influencing cultural trends and economic behavior. When many individuals simultaneously pursue growth, creativity, or healing, the overall probability landscape shifts. This is why movements of innovation and social change often appear to accelerate unexpectedly. It feels as though an invisible threshold has been crossed. In truth, countless small shifts have accumulated until a new timeline becomes dominant. Recognizing this dynamic can inspire responsibility. If your thoughts contribute to shaping reality, then cultivating clarity and compassion becomes a meaningful act. Meditation, reflective journaling, and intentional goal setting are not merely self-help techniques, they are methods of stabilizing attention so that it serves constructive outcomes. Education in psychology, neuroscience, and quantum philosophy provides frameworks for understanding why these practices work. Spiritual insight adds motivation by connecting personal growth to a broader cosmic narrative. As you move forward, remember that awareness is the first step toward mastery. The more consciously you observe your internal dialogue and emotional reactions, the more freedom you gain to choose alternative responses. This flexibility is the essence of timeline navigation. It allows you to interrupt automatic patterns and replace them with deliberate strategies aligned with your highest aspirations. Whether you attribute this process to universal intelligence or to the adaptive power of the human brain, the result is the same. Your future becomes more responsive to your intention. Chapter 2. Manifestation Guidance and the Responsibility of a Shifted Reality. If a timeline shift has indeed occurred in your life, the next question becomes crucial: what will you do with it? Awareness without action eventually fades into memory. Many people experience brief moments of inspiration only to return to familiar routines because change feels uncomfortable. Yet transformation requires sustained engagement. When you perceive new possibilities, you are being invited to participate in their realization. This invitation can feel exhilarating, but it can also trigger uncertainty. Growth often involves releasing outdated identities and embracing roles that demand courage, discipline, and resilience. Manifestation at an advanced level involves harmonizing multiple dimensions of your experience. On a cognitive level, you clarify your vision with specificity. On an emotional level, you cultivate states such as gratitude and determination that reinforce belief. On a behavioral level, you take consistent steps that convert potential into measurable progress. Education becomes essential here because understanding the mechanics of habit formation, motivation, and decision-making dramatically increases effectiveness. Psychological research shows that small, repeated actions create feedback loops. Each success strengthens confidence, making further success more likely. Over time, this compounding effect can feel almost miraculous. Spiritual interpretations often describe supportive forces that appear once commitment is demonstrated. Opportunities align, mentors emerge, and synchronicities guide direction. From a practical standpoint, these experiences may reflect heightened awareness. When your goals become clear, you naturally notice resources that were previously overlooked. Your communication changes. Your posture shifts, you signal readiness to the environment. Others respond accordingly. What feels like external intervention may be the visible consequence of internal coherence. This does not diminish the mystery or beauty of the process. Instead, it highlights the partnership between intention and circumstance. Another important aspect of a shifted timeline is emotional integration. Sudden changes can bring unresolved fears to the surface. Doubts about worthiness or capability may intensify just as opportunities expand. This is not a sign that the shift is failing. It is evidence that deeper layers of conditioning are being activated for resolution. Educational approaches such as cognitive reframing and mindfulness training provide practical tools for navigating these challenges. By learning to observe thoughts without immediate identification, you reduce their power to dictate behavior. Spiritual perspectives frame this as transcending lower vibrations. Scientific language describes it as regulating neural responses. Both paths emphasize self-awareness. Community also plays a transformative role. When individuals share experiences of growth, they create environments that normalize ambition and healing. In many parts of the United States, conscious communities are forming around themes of holistic wellness, entrepreneurship, and creative collaboration. These networks accelerate development by offering feedback, encouragement, and accountability. Engaging with supportive groups can help stabilize the momentum of a timeline shift. Education within these communities often blends practical skill building with reflective dialogue, creating balanced progress. A crucial responsibility accompanies expanded awareness, ethical intention. Manifestation is not merely about personal gain. When your actions consider the well-being of others, your influence becomes constructive rather than disruptive. Social psychology demonstrates that cooperative strategies produce more sustainable outcomes than purely competitive ones. Spiritual teachings emphasize compassion as a guiding principle. Integrating these insights ensures that your growth contributes positively to the larger system. In a sense, you become a stabilizing force within the evolving timeline you inhabit. Another layer to consider is the relationship between imagination and innovation. Many breakthroughs in science, technology, and art begin as intuitive visions that challenge existing assumptions. Individuals who trust these insights often pioneer new industries or cultural movements. A timeline shift can therefore be interpreted as an invitation to explore creative potential. Education in design thinking, strategic planning, and emotional intelligence equips you to translate inspiration into impact. Spiritual frameworks encourage faith in unseen possibilities. Together they form a powerful methodology for transformation. Resilience remains essential throughout this journey. Not every step will feel guided or effortless. There will be periods of confusion, delay, or apparent regression. Understanding the nonlinear nature of growth prevents discouragement. Progress frequently unfolds in cycles: expansion followed by consolidation, action followed by reflection. Recognizing these rhythms allows you to maintain perspective. A temporary setback does not negate a broader shift. It simply provides information for refinement. By analyzing outcomes objectively and adjusting strategies accordingly, you strengthen both competence and confidence. Ultimately, the concept of higher guidance, whether symbolized as cosmic allies or as the emergent intelligence of the universe, serves to remind you that your life has significance beyond immediate circumstances. When you align daily actions with long-term purpose, ordinary routines become meaningful rituals. Each decision contributes to shaping a reality that reflects your values. This sense of participation can transform anxiety into motivation. Instead of feeling controlled by external events, you begin to experience yourself as a co-creator of your path. As this chapter concludes, reflect on the possibility that the shift you sensed was not an isolated incident but part of an ongoing evolution. The invitation is continuous. Each morning presents a new opportunity to refine intention, expand knowledge, and deepen awareness. By combining scientific understanding with spiritual curiosity, you develop a holistic approach to manifestation. Education grounds inspiration in practical methodology. Spiritual insight sustains motivation during uncertainty. Together, they empower you to navigate the changing landscape of your life with clarity and purpose. The journey ahead is not about proving whether timelines can literally be altered by unseen beings. It is about recognizing the profound capacity you already possess to reshape perception, behavior, and destiny. When you accept this responsibility, every moment becomes a gateway to transformation. The shift that began in silence while you slept can mature into a conscious movement toward fulfillment, contribution, and awakened presence. If you choose to honor it,